Ladies and gentlemen, the month break is over, and Octane Online Racing is back with another Sprint Series, the newly crowned Simrigs Sprint Series. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Nick Amon, and I want to welcome you to tonight's broadcast here from Oulton Park, and definitely not my basement. We have a new season upon us, and wouldn't you know it, we've got a lot of names that are returning and a lot of new names joining us here today. We are joining in the middle of qualifying, some fun little YouTube stream scheduling, of course, and I gotta start when it says I can, but yes, your eyes do not deceive you. We are back. It feels like it has been the longest month of my life since I have been in the booth. Let me tell you, it is great to be back. But we've got a new season of sprint race action starting up here at Oulton Park, and then after this we're going to Spa, Coda, Monza, Silverstone, Nürburgring, and then we're going to end it off at Kyalami in about December. It looks like December 15th is going to be the final day of competition, at least for this little bit of a regular season, if you want to call it that. Had some changes going on in the background and over the break, some format changes, this, that, and the other thing. Of course, the new sponsors as well. But like I said earlier, got a lot of returning faces. One of those is Renato Dornelles, currently sitting P4. He's moved over from Audi to Ferrari here this season. Of course, making the return. And Backerton as well, who is currently not in the server. I don't believe he marked attendance, but he too has returned. The two leaders for their respective splits. For Dornelles, I mean, he had quite the track record. 6 wins, 9 podiums, 9 top 10s. That's over 1,000 points for his name. And then Backerton, 6 wins, 7 podiums, and 9 top 10s, and almost 1,000 points to his name. So I'm sure if Backerton were here, he would be all over Dornelles. But right now, our Brazilian friend here sitting down in P number 9. Its goals are on top here in qualifying, a 1:33.1. We did see a 32.9 in the EU race, so we'll see if North America has anything to offer. We still got 4 minutes to go here, so still plenty of time to get things sorted out. And actually, 9 of the top 10 drivers from both splits last season return. Again, Dornelles, one of them. Pierce Flomger, Portis, Clifford, Backerton, Skeptura, Davis, Keogh. The only driver that was in the top 10 that hasn't made a return was Steele. He's off doing other things. But still a very good attendance sheet, I must say. Now, one thing you may have noticed is actually the liveries look a little bit different, and as far as I can tell for the first time and what I know of, we are allowing custom liveries. So we'll take a nice good look at those once qualifying gets sorted out. Had a little bit of an awkward time in the EU split. I didn't have the liveries installed, so unfortunately there was a lot of cars. They were just a nice matte black. But I got them sorted. I got the pack for it, the zip file. Got everything put in the proper folders. So now we should have some nice colorful liveries to grace our screens. But yeah, a lot of returning phases here and new ones. One of those, Hayden Harder, right now, currently P5 with a 33.67. Very solid showing so far here. Another driver is Nate Lalem, P8. So still within that 33. We actually have the top 8 drivers in that 33 zone. And then you go to Timothy Flomger and you get the first 34, although it's a 34.0. He has a 33.89, but that is with track limits in mind, so it does not count. Another driver another driver that's been added in, if you will, Andrew Wilson, number 91 McLaren. Silver rated, hasn't gotten an amateur pro-am or a pro rating just yet, but should, hopefully by the time we get through to Spa, or after Spa rather, should be rated. We'll have to wait and see. Another driver, Marco Jansen here, with, I assume that's not supposed to be an all-white liveried Honda. Could be missing something, but what can you do? P26 right now for the Canadian. Tacky's Weeks here down in P29 for the pro-rated drivers, although Ronan Mendina is actually the lowest rated pro driver right now, ahead or behind, sorry, Darren Wicks, one of the newer drivers here, with one of the best team names I think I have ever seen. Worst case scenario. I mean, well, that's a worst case scenario, but worst case scenario. Some of these guys have very, very good team names, I must say, and there's definitely some interesting liveries we'll take a look at later. There's a couple that I'm not. There's one I'm not too fond of, but I'll make sure to point it out. Hamza Golzar, of course, no team name. He doesn't need one. You know exactly who he is the second he gets behind the wheel. So the last minute of qualifying going on. It's Golzar, Pierce, Fernandez, your top three. Livery making a return, Harder and Lamelin. The next three down, and then it's Davis, Rasko, Flomger, and Thompson. Thompson doing very good for himself, despite being amateur rated. It's sitting in a nice, comfortable P10. That is a 33.9, actually. So, looks like, or sorry, I'm looking at everything all wrong. So, 33s actually go all the way down to P12. And interestingly enough, Renato Dornelis and Michael Landry have the exact same time, a 1:33.950. And then Braden Thompson has a 1:33.940. So, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. Maybe there's a 10,000th digit that the game is calculating that we don't get to see. But we get to the end of qualifying here. Hamza Golzar still sitting on top, just about a little under 25 thousandths of a second to Thomas Pierce. Thomas Pierce, though, is on an improvement as he comes out of the final corner. He's got a couple of tenths up on himself, so we're going to see where he sits after he crosses the start-finish line. And there it is, a 32.9. Breaks down that barrier, 2 tenths ahead of Golzar. And looking through the rest of the grid, the only improvements we're really seeing right now, Hayden Harder was just about a tenth as I switched to him, and then he lost it. So perhaps losing something out of the corner, but still on pace to equal his time. And then down the grid a ways, Chris Frizza and Ronan Mendina are on improvements. Unfortunately, we don't seem to have a safety car. Obviously, our safety car is going to be a slower car, that being the Chevy, a GT4 machine. So Harder crosses the line here, will not improve, so he's going to sit right where he is at the moment. And it looks like Keith Briscoe is the only other driver out right now. The two drivers I mentioned before, Ronan Mendina actually did improve up to P24. So very solid from him. Across the line goes Briscoe and has to unfortunately settle for that P14. But that is going to do it for qualifying here for this race. And I will show you guys all of the wonderful, big quotation marks around the word wonderful, liveries that we have on display here. I think you guys will definitely get a kick out of these. So what we'll do is we'll take our trusty drone cam, if I can remember my keybinds, which I don't. It has been a good while since I've been able to actually do anything. I'm just struggling right now. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, now we're in business. All right, let's take a look and let's see what we got rolling here. So some of these looks like just regular editors. Obviously, Pierce and Golzar, Fernandez as well to some extent, and then we have Babas Let's in very sleek. I'd even call it like a little bit of a wasp livery. I'm a huge sucker for this little yellow line on the Pirellis. That's beautiful. We have an absolutely gorgeous skin from Livery. For those of you that aren't aware, this is Arizona's state flag, and my God, is that perfectly encapsulating all that is Arizona. Very good job there. And just a little ways back is Hayden Harder, a very nice bright orange livery. And then it's Lamelin, pretty solid black. I assume this isn't the full livery. I'm sure there's something that got lost in translation, so hopefully get that sorted out. Steve Davis, the driver from the land down under, with a very sleek looking red, white, and blue-ish livery. Of course, rocking this series sponsor, Simrigs. And then the only Bentley is with Rasko, Beside him is a beautiful McLaren livery for Michael Landry. You can see the Canadian flag there. And his name, Quasar, and his little name above. Look at all that. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And then Timothy Flomger, Alpha Simsport. We have a lot of drivers with Alpha Simsport liveries. I did notice that. So that is definitely something we'll keep an eye on. Braden Thompson, pretty high rated for him up in P12. And then Dornelis, of course, behind Keith Briscoe. We were actually on board with a moment ago. And then we have a questionable, I would say, livery for Eduardo Sanchez. I don't know what the consensus is on anime. Fine with it, but you know, we go on. And then this, oh my god, this color scheme from Sceptura is just oof. I am a big fan. Carpenter rocking the pink machine as he did last season. And then you have Dag, a very similar livery, a very aggressive angled color palette for Clifford. And I actually think we're getting ready here in the next 30 seconds or so, so we'll try to get through this. And then we have Tadas Lutkis, a very nice BMW, an all-white Honda. Unfortunately, I don't have the car for McAnulty. A very nice red, white, and blue there. There is one livery, and that is for Mr. Kevin Parody. That is a turtle, if you couldn't guess. That is a turtle. And then this absolute banger of a Porsche. Just getting out of town. But definitely some very, very good liveries. Very creative, I must say. There's some of them do have little Easter eggs, so if you ever find yourself in a lobby with these guys, hey, maybe you'll get a chance and see them. But for right now, we do have to get the show on the road. Again, unfortunately, no safety car, so our friend Thomas Pierce will act as said safety car. These guys are ready for an hour race ahead of us. 2 pit stops. So this does throw a bit of a curveball at these drivers. Normally with these hour-long races, in seasons past, it has only been 1. I think the one time we had a 2 pit stop race was the mini endurance event that we had. That was an hour and a half. So to do it on the first race of the season is definitely going to be just a little bit of a bump for some of these drivers. Perhaps they were maybe not looking at the schedule and saying that it was a 2-stop strat and having to hastily make a new strategy. Right now we got drivers just sort of coasting on through here. One of the few chicanes that we'll see people going for moves on. I mean, it is going to be just pure chaos. Once everything really kicks off, I mean, it is the gloves are off and everybody is going to be throwing hands. Glad to see everybody. I had the stream open, but I didn't. Your livery copped a lot of slander last night. I am so sorry to hear that, Aaron. I don't know. I didn't see it. I'm sure I'll take a peek and maybe agree, maybe disagree. ACC manager. A turtle is creative. It is, but it's the execution I'm not a fan of. But welcome in, everybody. Gamepad as well. Ferrari and P5 Sheesh. Absolutely. I mean, Skylar Loverank, incredibly talented driver, especially with that gorgeous Arizona livery. I'm not from Arizona myself, but I can appreciate a little bit of state love there. But you can see just all these amazing colors coming through here as we head under the bridge. So, again, no safety car, unfortunately, this evening, so we are going to be relying on the virtual safety car. Hopefully we don't have to. I had a chat with the head of this lovely organization earlier, and he said that there was a safety car in every split, as I told him, except for NA. So we'll see if we can get through lap 1 without any chaos. It's Pierce on pole with Golzar joining him in the front row. Fernandez, Babaletskos, and Loverank, your top 5 right now. It is an amazing getaway for Golzar as him and Pierce are way up the road, but not the line he wants, so he has to settle back into P2. We head further down the field. Loverank starting to get just eaten up by this. Oh, we've got trouble already. We've got Fernandez going off. Loverank was getting swallowed up by the pack, but it is going to be Fernandez that loses out the most as he is way off course. No damage, thankfully, but he has a lot of work to do as he is just down, down, down this pack as we start getting ready for the next set of corners. It's still Pierce and Gulzar at the front right now for the first chicane. This is a zone we could see a lot of overtakes in, and as well as the second chicane, even into turn 1 and turn 2. But it looks like North America, as always, showing every other region how you're supposed to do race starts. So shout outs to all of those boys and girls out there for making this start safety car free, as we see a nice little pile of tires getting booted like a soccer ball, or I guess I should say football, seeing as we are in Great Britain, and I know I'll get beaten up badly for saying such a horrid word for them. But it has been a very good start for Pierce and Gulzar. Pretty much the entirety of the top 5, minus Fernandez, of course, have gotten away quite nicely here. And now drivers getting settled back in for this race. Right now, Baba's Let's Go does not get the best exit here. Loverink is on the inside as we cross the line to start the next lap, but she is just going to have to fall back and settle into P6 for right now. Definitely going to be eyeing up her options later on in the race. A lot of other drivers. We actually have Fernandez into the pits. Must have been maybe more damage than we saw earlier on. You can see Laylam getting really dirty there, trying to give that BMW as much room as it can. Rasco is going to be taking advantage of this opportunity. He's going to pull Flomger in closer as well. That big old Boatley giving a big old slipstream to everybody behind. Dornelis almost going into the back of the Mercedes there, and here we go. Oh, a nice little cambered turn. It's always fun to see, and these drivers definitely enjoy it. So you can see Pierce and Gulzar really pulling away now. An insane gap down to Harder. Harder, one of the new additions here to the OOR, has done a very good job right now of just maintaining that Citrus McLaren in P3 and everybody else coming down the hill. Eduardo Sanchez, another returning driver, P12 for him at the start. And ahead of him was a driver who he was behind quite a bit last season. But everybody is doing a fantastic job right now, and hopefully they keep it up. Again, it's a two-stop strategy for this race. The pit window still has about another 2 minutes. So with Fernandez in the pits, that or it's out of the pits now, but that pit lane entry has unfortunately not counted. So he still has 2 more pit stops to do later on in the race. But let's take a look up at Pierce right now, who has Gulzar just hiding behind him out of sight. So these two definitely are going to be going at it probably as this race develops. Laylam is going into the pits at the moment. We're going to hop back here with Brian Rasco, who seems to have lost a little bit of pace up to Landry. And you can see, yeah, just a massive gap. And behind him is Flomger and Dornelis, and Sanchez just getting a peep in there as before the camera changes. Oh, and just covering off the inside for Rasco. Very smart move down into this beautiful turn. And all those cars getting through quite nicely, really taking advantage of the angle that that corner sits on to really throw that car through. And another thing you throw the car through is the chicane. Obviously, some can do it better than others, and the Bentley is definitely one of those cars that you have full freedom to just yeet it right on through over some bumps that other cars simply cannot compete with. You carry on. Jonathan Clifford right now, P16, is really struggling to shake off Briscoe and catch up to Lutkes. This little pack starting to maybe form up a little bit later on down the line in the race. I think right now we'll focus mostly on this little group here. 8, 9, 10, 11 should be a place to be. Even 12 if you want to throw McAnulty in there, because he is not quite in slipstream range, but still close enough to benefit should some tomfoolery, if you will, take place. A little bit of heavy braking should catch him right up. Pit window has now opened up, so within the next 50 minutes, drivers got to do 2 pit stops lest they cop a penalty. Definitely not something you want here. Takis Weeks has, well, Chris Frizza behind. And I think, if I'm not wrong, I think some liveries have been copied over. Okay, that is what happened. Because Loverink, because I was looking through the liveries earlier, and it was Frizza that had the Arizona one. So there has been some sort of lovely computering that has messed some things up, and some liveries have been copied over, but still an amazing Arizona-inspired paint scheme. But anyways, I promise I will get that all sorted out, hopefully by next stream. But it's been a very, very good start. So drivers now getting into the groove of things. I just want to welcome everybody who's popped in. The topics just found the league today. Excited to hopefully join in on the action soon. Hey, we'd love to have you, whether it be in rookies or sprint endurance. We got F1, we got a pro series coming up. We got all sorts of things. So we hope to see you there. PJ as well popping in here. Valiant Knight, how could we ever forget about you? A Dark Affliction, Rain in 30, that is true. It is going to be interesting to see what happens. Backerton, what is going on, my man? I'm surprised you're not here tonight. Maybe you're giving some other drivers a chance to win. I respect that. Tim Brook has gone into the pit lane, so very, very early pit stop. We're probably going to be looking at maybe some 20-minute stints, 3 20-minute stints from the beginning to the 40-minute mark, 40 to 20, 20 to the end. That's just the general pit stop strategy, but anything can change, and drivers will adjust their pit stops accordingly. Had to drop out of the season. Oh, goodness, that is unfortunate. Well, Backerton, we will carry on in your memory, of course, and thank you for letting someone else win the championship. We greatly appreciate it. Babas Let's Go's is doing a very good job right now of just holding Livery behind. Livery has been unable to find some openings and some doors behind this Mercedes. Rasco is starting to lose quite a bit of ground right now as Flomger gets a really good exit out of this corner, and he is going to stick a nose down the inside, but just has to back out, not going to risk it right now. But what he is going to do is get a much better exit here out of the final corner. It's door to door here. Mercedes on the inside, Bentley on the outside, down into turn number 1. Is Rasco going to be far enough ahead? No, he is not. He is just going to back out, and Flomger's going to pick up that position, and Dornelis almost getting taken out, and he's going to take advantage of this as he's going to grab this inside line down into the next corner. But no, he's fighting back. There is going to be a bit of paint trading there, and wide goes Rasco. Not what he wanted. It was looking really good, but perhaps a little snap of oversteer from the Ferrari is what pushed the Bentley out wide. So Rasco has lost not just 2 positions, but many, many more as he has fallen down. That Bentley is going to be doing quite a lot of work right now. Marco Jansen has a very scary Sceptura, and it looks like he got spooked a little too much. White as a ghost, if you will, and he is just way off the line. Thankfully able to get back on circuit and keep it off the walls. More importantly, we had a few offs in the EU split after our opening lap. Chaos, but nobody really heavy into the wall, thankfully. But this has been a very good start. Thomas Pierce still leading Hamza Golzar as they cross the line. These 2 drivers, I would not be surprised if we see them fighting it out for the title as this season matures. 2 incredibly talented drivers. We've seen it in seasons past. We see it on the broadcast all the time because, well, they're the ones that are up front. They're the ones that are consistently putting in these mega laps and amazing moves. And of course, we're going to showcase that as we do see the number 7 car of Jansen off and about. So we're going to see what this is all about. Ooh, a little bit of oversteer. Oh, and it looks like, yeah, that snap just sent him wide of his brake point, or his turn-in point, rather. Thankfully, was off the racing line. So he waits for everyone to get through and gets that Honda sorted out. But these skies are looking quite gray as we look off into the British countryside. But yeah, you can see the clouds have covered it up, and well, I think we may be seeing some precipitation. And it already looks like, heck, if this was real, you could say it looks like a little bit of a drizzle starting to form right now. these drivers. We don't know how long the rain will be falling, of course. Weather is randomized, at least I believe it is, unless there's something I'm not aware of. But definitely, it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers cope with wet weather conditions. I know a lot of these guys tend to practice in optimal conditions. So when you throw some water onto the track, things get a little bit shaky. We're going to hop back here. Wilson Fernandez has Lamelin right behind. And then Loverink up ahead. Loverink has pitted already. So that'll be -1 on the checkboard, or the checkbox. This will be a bit of a battle for P27. So while we have a bunch of gaps in places, we do have these battle packs starting to form. And I think once the pit stops start coming through, especially that second one, things are really going to get hectic. With drivers being a lap down, drivers trying to get through traffic to get to their pit stop, and just maximizing the output and the lap times. Definitely not an easy task to do. One driver I do want to make mention of is Mr. Kevin Parody. Oh, we've got someone way up front. I believe that is the Beamer of Tadas Lutkis, who has missed the part of the chicane and does drop down 3 positions to P15. We do see Clifford throwing hands with McAnulty and actually gets it the best as he's able to pull away the Aston Martin off into the grass. Does not lose position, although Lutkis does get a chance to catch back up. So these guys starting to get a little bit rowdy, and actually McAnulty already is losing more and more time to Clifford, and Lutkis is pulling in. McAnulty, he is really trying to catch up and really trying to make up the time he's lost, and unfortunately he's throwing that Aston a little too hard through the corners, and he's hurting himself. Clifford actually going into the pits rather early, 13 minutes into his stint, and already thinking it's time for a new set of tires. So probably not those Pirelli wets, maybe trying to get a stint here on the dry tire before having to deal with rain for possibly the rest of this race. The weather forecast has not changed, so still 30 minutes from the possible precipitation. But ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to take a quick moment to thank our sponsor, Simrigs. It's no longer the Octane Online Racing Sprint Series. It is the Simrigs Sprint Series, a massive sim racing supplier based out of Melbourne, Australia. If you need wheels, pedals, socks, gloves, or really anything, they've got you covered. Of course, they ship to all of Australia and New Zealand, but if you happen to live outside of those borders like I do, you can shoot them an email and you can work something out. And our Patreon members do get a 5% discount in store, so if you're looking to upgrade, Simrigs.com is the place to be. Back to the action, though. It's been a bit of a change in pace for some of these drivers. Actually, no. Everybody is settled in quite nicely, although Pierce has done a very good job of pulling away from Gulzar. 1.3 seconds is the gap. Pierce actually with the fastest lap, a 32.8. So that is a 10th quicker than what we saw in qualifying. And he has wasted absolutely no time. This is home field advantage for the Aston Martin. But behind him, the German manufacturer Porsche, looking to make some changes here, and we do see Andrew Wilson into the pits as well. Loverink has gone off the circuit, so we're going to bring it back a little bit, see what happened. So on exit, oh, she just gets a little too much inside of that corner and flashing the headlights in frustration. Thankfully, the other drivers able to get through, no problems at all. Fernandez and Lamelin will say thank you very much. We'll take those positions, but this has been an absolutely disastrous start for the number 52 Ferrari. Going all the way down to P27. Still plenty of time to get things rebuilt, possibly. Behind Loverink is Clifford and Rasco for P28. Bentley, we saw Rasco earlier on, of course, was doing a very, very good job of keeping things together, but getting bumped wide from Dornelis had a bit of an effect on him, and he did go into the pits along with Clifford, and Clifford does manage to defend that position from the Bentley sent him a little bit wide off the racing line. And for him, he does get to hold on to P27 a little bit longer. Eduardo Sanchez right now for RBP's GT team is leading from Thompson. Thompson actually the highest rated amateur class driver in P10. Very, very surprising from him, because the next driver in amateur class is none other than my co-commentator Kevin Parody in that livery, which is P15, or sorry, P16, or no, it is P15. My brain gets mixed up sometimes. We see Michael Landry going into the pit, so yeah, it looks like we are going to be seeing a lot of these pit stops starting to come through here within the next 10 or so minutes. So we hop back with Livery still leading from Clifford. Clifford actually starting to close the gap up a little bit here to the number 52, and of course opening that gap up to Brian Rasco, who is just behind there in shot. These three would not be surprised if they start battling for position as this race comes to a close. Tadas Lucas, who looks like he may have had a bit of an issue, him or McAnulty, through that chicane. We saw some dirt getting kicked up. That has brought Hasser a little bit closer, but really nothing to sneeze at. Kevin Parody has been leading weeks for what seems like weeks almost, down in P15. We'll get a nice shot of that front grille. Again, that is a turtle, I was told, or a whatever, turtle, tortoise. All I know is that when he showed it to me, I didn't like it, and I still don't like it. Steve Davis is going to be going for his first pit stop, joining us from the land down under. If I'm not mistaken, it should be about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, so not too ridiculous for some of these drivers right now. Ooh, Kevin Parody having Weeks look down the inside there into turn number 1, but a little too far back for Weeks. Is not going to go for it, and he will just opt to stay behind. Actually backing out a little bit, maybe trying to get a better exit, and he will not, unfortunately. So Kevin Parody gets to sit quite comfortably for the time being. Another Beamer we're going to look at here is Braden Thompson, who has been moved up to P8, but that is, of course, with the pit stops. Behind him, Austin Carpenter, and what I assume to be Barbie's McLaren. Hot pink, but he rocks it just as well. Walker McAnulty really seems to be struggling to get Hasser off of him, and you see Lucas way up the road. Absolutely no chance for him to even get close for the time being. And in the background, I believe that could be a couple of the BMWs. I don't think it's Parody and Weeks, but perhaps a little further down on the grid, I believe Lamelin is, I think it's Lamelin and Fernandez, who were just exiting shot there. Hayden Harder into the pits as well. Timothy Flomger going for his first pit stop of the evening. And the rain still 30 minutes out. So I believe once we get close to about, well, I think realistically within the next 45 seconds, it should move over to the 10-minute column, but I could be wrong. Thomas Pierce, though, still leading this race quite comfortably from Golzar. That gap has dropped about 0.4 of a second, but that has been over the last couple of laps, and it's going to be very, very difficult for Golzar to chip away at Pierce. Incredibly consistent driver, incredibly fast, of course. When you have that combination, well, you are pretty much unstoppable. But with these pit stops starting to come through, we should be seeing a rather chaotic change to this race. Arnas, welcome to the stream. Midday, perfect lunchtime entertainment. I mean, let's be honest, you could probably just show it to your boss and you'd be like, okay, yeah, keep going. Have some fun. Jonathan Clifford, ooh, is actually has Rasco a little bit closer now. Rasco really cut the inside of the corner, knocked over the pylon, and had a little bit of oversteer, but corrected, so the time he was gaining is, well, unfortunately lost for now. Timothy Flomger, so it was Flomger and Fernandez we saw earlier. It wasn't Lamelin, but Lamelin, though, very, very close here. It is going to be quite the task right now. You can see just how close he is to Fernandez. He is going to be looking to go the long way around. The inside line is going to be Fernandez as they brake heavy into this second chicane for the inside bump there for the number 88 BMW, kicking that pylon out of the way. It looks like it's actually been pretty beneficial, as already he's pulling away with Flomger. We do have a 10-second penalty for Craig Dale. Not quite certain what that is about. I don't remember if the... Oh boy, hold on. We have got Fernandez with a bit of an error there, and that brings Laneland right back. And now we see quite a lot of pit lanes getting lit up right now. It is Fernandez who is feeling the wrath of Laneland, who does look for a move down the inside. It does not stick, unfortunately for him. Fernandez getting out of that one by the skin of his teeth. P19-16 with all these pit stops coming through. And he is going to come out just behind. I can't quite see who that was. One of the more bright colored cars out on track. Oh, hold on. We have got quite the battle right now. Flomger and Babas Letskos. Flomger was behind Babas Letskos after that pit stop, but was able to get around him quite nicely. The view out of the 316 Mercedes is going to show Laneland going for a move down the inside. A little bit of a switchback there potentially for Fernandez, but it is not going to be as she wrote, and unfortunately that position now belongs to Fernandez. Scaptura picking up a drive-through penalty, and in the next 10 minutes we are going to be seeing some rain, and we have the number 97 car. That is Ronan Mendina off into the gravel, and we'll see what this is all about. Oh, that's very strange. So, oh, and that's a big hit on the front end. Oulton Park, one of the bumpiest tracks, some players will say, and you saw it right there, just way too much up and down motion for that Ferrari to handle, and well, that is going to end in heartbreak, and it continues for the Brazilian as he struggles to get through the straightaway, and he is just going to have to drop more and more positions. Not the evening he is wanted. We look here, Tim Brook, let's get a bit of a chance onto somebody, but at the moment he doesn't. Babas Letskos is pulling away quite nicely from others. Wicks up into P13 at the moment. Very good start from him. Worst pace scenario. He started at the back of the grid, but look at him go. P13. It has been an incredible drive for this amateur class driver. Obviously, probably a little bit of an inflated position because of those pit stops. But we'll have to see what happens later on in the race. Golzar, Sanchez, Briscoe into the pits for their first pit stop. Kevin Parody going way out wide, and Weeks is going to say thank you very much. And he's just going to swoop in and scoop up that position. No questions asked. So some position changes and pit stops does put Parody up into P3 and Weeks into P2, and Carpenter is sitting on top right now. He has yet to serve one of his pit stops. So for right now, we'll see where he comes out after all is said and done. I can tell you right now, the broadcast controller is having a bit of a fit because it doesn't really know who's where, and it doesn't know who's close to who with all these pit stops. But the penalty that was given to car number 13, Craig Dale, in fact, for piston broke. I was about to say a head gasket, but then I remember there are no Subarus in this game. That was for a collision on lap 1. So for the Australian, that's not what you really want. Although with that second pit stop, he'll be able to serve it. Absolutely love the colors. The drive-through for Scaptura could quite possibly be for track limits. It hasn't been swapped over to anything, so he'll have to serve that and then serve a pit stop. As you know, you cannot serve a drive-through and then pit. That'll completely nullify the drive through and you'll have to do it again anyways. But we have, last time the game checked, we've got 10 minutes until the rain starts coming down. And those skies are definitely looking a bit gray. Wish the timetables would update a little bit quicker. Oh, we've got some questionable standards there for Braden Thompson's internet connection. Yeah, hopefully, I'd love to have Kunos fix that, but they probably never will. Is everybody lagging out right now? Bombs Let's Go is having an issue. Also with an issue. Everybody having issues connected to the server, but oh well, what can you do? Darren Wicks is teleporting along with Craig Dale, who finds himself off and into the grass. Thankfully keeps it together. I'll try to avoid these PowerPoint presentation connections right now. I don't know how well I'm gonna do, unfortunately. There's only so much I can do. McAnulty, Hasser, it might be something on my end, I'm not certain. But some of these drivers don't really have an issue, and as I say that, we have drivers that have issues, so we're going to look at Austin Carpenter for a little bit, because he seems to be 100% properly connected to the server, as that pink McLaren carries on. But what a start to this season for North America. Carpenter to the pits for the first pit stop this evening. Now the question is, how soon does the rain arrive? Is this the right call, or perhaps do you wait a bit longer as he pulls into his box? But hopefully the server issues, quote unquote, is gonna get sorted out. Looks like no, we're still having some issues. It's too bad. Try a reconnect. Remember seeing that in last series too. Maybe we'll give it a quick reconnect because this is a little bit difficult to watch. I mean, obviously Austin Carpenter is able to get things going pretty nicely. So we'll hop back in. It's definitely not mine. I have a 45 ping. Just, you know, one of those drivers. As we're all catching up now, so we should be good to go here for this race. And it looks like, yeah, so, Law, thank you. I appreciate you. Next round's on me, unless you can't drink. No. I'll buy you like a Coke or something. Okay, yeah, so it looks like things have been sorted out. Kevin Parody and Zachus Weeks still have yet to pit, and behind them is a scary-looking Porsche with Hamza Golzar, one of the most dominant drivers in North America that we have ever seen. How long is Parody gonna hold off this attack? Well, we don't really know. He's probably looking at the weather forecast and realizing that it's gonna start raining soon, but the question is, how soon is soon? As Golzar looks down the inside, he is gonna scare Parody off of the corner, and just like that, Golzar gonna impose his will and get around P number 1. Weeks into the pits, Parody will be given P2 for the time being. We look back, Braden Thompson right now leading Livery. Both of these drivers, despite having their pit stops, have done really, really well. Livery, especially from way down on the grid, has fought back valiantly into a very good position. Of course, she is not even close to being done. A lot of work to do. Renato Dornelis up into P6, a very familiar position, not quite as familiar as, say, the podium positions we saw in seasons past, but still somewhere we've seen him quite often. But yeah, with these pit stops coming in, and on top of that, with the rain starting to close in on the circuit, we'll see just who has the right pit strategy. Perhaps these drivers saying, you know what, I'll get the first stint out of the way, and then from there, well, I'm just gonna wait until the rain comes. And I think once that happens, and once the track starts getting a little too wet for these drivers, then it is gonna be all hands on deck in every single pit box. This pit crew is definitely gonna be getting their money's worth. Right now, the fastest lap still belongs to, if I'm not mistaken, or no, wait. Oh, hold on, we just saw Love Rank. Oh, no. Love Rank Oh, she's pushing so hard to catch up, and in her chase, she's just losing it. So we'll look back, see what happened again. And it's the same corner as last time. She just gets a little too inside, goes over that curb just a little wrong. And pretty much a 1-to-1 of what we saw the last go around. Thankfully is only going to drop to P15. Well, from P12 to 15, that's definitely not good. But Briscoe, or sorry, not Briscoe, Rasco, Briscoe, Clifford is well ahead. I mean, I don't think she's going to have too much of a problem getting through these three guys. Dave Hasser in the Craft Dinner Racing. And ladies and gentlemen, here is the rain. In 10 minutes, it's going to pick up. And then in 30 minutes, it's going to pick up even more. There's a little Easter egg on Dave's car that I saw. You can see it right there in white lettering. Send nudes. Send the noodles. The oodles of noodles. Please, please, please. Affliction, you're about, I think did you actually get it right on time? I think you might have been, like, a little early on the rain. You might have actually called that. This man has insights that I don't. I'll have what he's having. Right now, though, Brian Rasco, despite being in the big old Boatley, seems to be having a bit of an issue getting his sea legs, as he is struggling to get away from Livery. So now the track is greasy, and it is only going to be getting more wet from here on out, even as these cars clear the water and develop a racing line. It's not really going to matter. Tadas Lutkis has gone into the pits and has out. Same with Ronan Medina. So Landry's into the pits. Parody getting his pit stop. That's his first pit stop of the evening. That is his first pit stop of the evening. He still has to do another one. I don't think this has been the right call. Who else? Carpenter, Sanchez, Braden Thompson, Jonathan Clifford, Skylar Lovering, all into the pit lane, and now things are about to get a lot more busy for these pit crews. Apparently everybody employing the Invisible Man as their pit crew members. I don't know how smart that is, but if they have heat vision in those helmets, then you should be able to dodge them no problem. And we'll see who else goes into the pits. Lutkis on his way out. And Parody as well. Landry done. He's got all of his stops completed. Carpenter, Sanchez, Thompson, Clifford, Lovering as well will have green bars next to their name. Not for connection, but for pit stops. Lamelin as well into the pit lane. When we look back up front, Golzar is just going to get around Steve Davis, or sorry, not Steve Davis. That is the Mercedes of Craig Dale. Golzar staying out a bit longer, as that track does remain greasy, but I will not be surprised if it gets even more damp. But 10 minutes is going to just come down even harder than it already is. A bit of a light rain right now. Nothing I wouldn't give for a nice light rain here at home, although it is getting to that point in the year. It's getting kind of cold. Thomas Dagg, please don't hit me, please. While you're in the pit lane, you are ghosted. And behind him is the number 19 Mercedes of Timothy Flomger. Bobby Baba Let's Go is deciding that now's the time to pit as well for some wet tires. We do have a yellow flag. That is the 727 of Tadas Lutkis. We're going to see what happened here. Oh, looks like he just got a little bit wide. Oh, he is on the brakes very, very late in that gravel. Able to stop him just before the wall there. That was very scary. I'm guessing he was in a bit of a battle, got pushed out wide, and unfortunately got the short end of the deal. Weeks goes into the pits. Same with Wilson. Out of the pits is going to be an Audi and a Mercedes. Yeah, everybody's getting into the pit lane now. They are not going to wait any longer. We see Weeks here pulling in. Get his pit stop done. Wilson overshooting his box a little bit. Matteo Sceptura as well is deciding now is the time for a new set of Pirellis as the track goes damp. Chris Frizza as well deciding that skating around the circuit on slick tires is not the way to go. Hamza Golzar, your current race leader, also opting for the pit lane. Hayden Harder will be getting a temporary P1. Oh, no, he's actually going to match Golzar's pit lane as he is really just going right up to the edge of the line. Renato Dornelis also deciding now is the time to go in. So Briscoe and Parity have yet to go in. You keep in mind, Parity still has one more pit stop to do along with Briscoe. Skeptura and Frizza also getting theirs out of the way. We look down. Ronan Mendina should be done here soon enough. Actually, he has stayed parked up. He is 8 laps down, so perhaps something on his end. But outside of these last couple of drivers, Briscoe and Parity, everybody has pitted. And this will be definitely throwing them way back in the pack. But perhaps maybe opting to try to open up a gap where they can, and then once that's all said and done, then go for the pit lane. It's Golzar popping out of the pits right now to P2. Hayden Harder is going to be joining him in just a moment's time. Once he gets over that white line, he can turn off the pit limiter, and he's gone. Same with Renato Dornelis. You see Briscoe and Parity here on the left side of screen, and they are not going to get out ahead of the Brazilian. It is Dornelis into P4 with absolutely no questions asked. Oh, sorry, that's Parity and Davis. Briscoe is way up front right now. He is still yet to pit, although right now it is Parity who's having a little bit of trouble right now as Davis is all over that rear wing. And you can see already drivers having to change their lines a little bit with this damp track, braking a bit earlier, a little bit more lifting, and things are just getting a little bit crazy now. Dave Hasser out of the pits along with Andrew Wilson, so they're all set for the rest of the race. The next 22.5 minutes are going to be theirs. But again, Parity and Briscoe still have to serve a pit stop. So we look to Briscoe right now, who has gone rather wide. And he is just going to lose time. And who's that coming up behind him? None other than Hamza Golzar, although he is not close enough to make a move. You can see how much these cars are struggling right now. They have not found a drier line as Briscoe diving to the pit lane. So Hamza Golzar back up into the lead. When we look back right now, Kevin Parity is going to be the man we focus on to see if he also decides to go into the pit lane. 16 minutes and 45 seconds is how much longer he's got to get another pit stop out of the way, and he is going to opt to stay out a little bit longer, really trying to see how much he can get out of these tires, how much of a gap he can pull to other drivers before the end of the race. Thomas Dag and Ronan Mendina have unfortunately left. Their afternoons are done and dusted. Not what they wanted. Not the start to the season you want, but everybody's got to start somewhere. There's still 6 more races after this, and we'll see just who can pick up the slack and who can make something happen. We've got a yellow flag, and again, it is going to be Tadas Lutkis. We're going to see just what happened here. Looks like we were a little too late. If I had to bet on it, I'm going to say maybe he got a little too wide here at the corner and just spun it around. And he's right on the racing line too. So drivers having to go around the outside on that very wet line. I just tuned in just to see some rain. Yep. This is, I don't know what the other splits were rolling with, but as far as I'm concerned, there was no rain in EU. I was there for it, and I don't think there was rain in AP. If someone could just confirm that, that'd be solid. Right now, Michael Landry here, just ahead of Timothy Flomger in that Mercedes behind. Doing a very good job, both of these drivers. And up ahead of them is Craig Dale, so this is some back marker action that these guys are going to have to deal with. We just check in on Parity, who is again going to opt to stay out of the pit lane. Perhaps he's going to go up until the very end of the pit window. He knows that he mistimed his pit stop and unfortunately does have to deal with the consequences, that being getting relegated quite far down the grid once he goes through. Brian Rasco with Tim Brook right behind has not been able to shake him. He's been reeled in little by little each lap as we head down the front straight once more down into turn number 1. Brook just biding his time right now, not going for anything too crazy. Darren Wicks with a very cool little amount of detail on the inside of the wing. You don't see a lot of detail in those. Most people just say, you know what, I'm going to treat it like it's a just a part of the base color models and paint it one thing. But, you know, it's just some of the little details on these cars that really makes them stand out. And, of course, the mustache on the hood or the bonnet, depending on where you're from. Personally, I would like the mustache to be pink, but that is just me. Pink and sparkly would be a good look, but I am not in charge of the livery design team. And right now, it is Brook who is just not letting up this pressure onto Rasco. Rasco is going to defend the inside line into this chicane and does manage to pull ahead. Brook having to back out. He looked like a moment was going to present itself, but decided that it was better to just let off and live to fight another day. As Rasco will take advantage of that and start to pull away. Although, for how long is he staying away from that 404 BMW? And it looks like there's going to be a lot of time for that gap to open up as Brook goes way out wide. Eduardo Sanchez now setting his sights on the BMW, and he is going to be trying to use all the weave power he's got to get this P15 right now on the attack down the front straight with the slipstream, although not at max speed due to the rain. And the line adjustment, it's Brook missing his brake point. Had this been a drier track and had that happen, Sanchez might have gone for it, but right now he is going to slot in behind and just back out for the moment. Maybe going to get a little bit of a better exit here, not quite, and he is going to use all the road he can, and despite that, not going to even get closer to Brook. Brook actually started to pull away a little bit from the looks of it as they head through the left-hander into Island. There you go, Brook still remaining ahead. All that work he did to catch up to Rasco squandered by a moment of broken focus. Sanchez will have no problem trying to pick that up. We have a car off number 13. That is looking to be, I can't find number 13 because I don't know what numbers are. Oh, that's Craig Dale. I don't know if we'll be able to see it. No, we won't, unfortunately. Terribly sorry for that one. I think it looks like may have been another corner claiming a victim, maybe a little too wide. Oh, there's actually damage on the front end of that Mercedes. So, yeah, that might be over and out for him as we look off again into the British countryside. We'll have to see Landry picking up a 5er. Same with Brook. So this is really starting to kick off. We'll see. So for Brook, 5-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 21. Landry's gotten 10 seconds for an unsafe rejoin on lap 21. So that's going to get added on at the end of the race. So that's looking like a position loss to Flomger. Baba Let's not close enough to really take advantage right now, but certainly could benefit from that later on. We've got Marco Jansen moving rather slowly. Or, sorry, because that's a back marker. I was going to say, I thought both of the blinkers were on for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, he doesn't have damage. Well, there you go, just letting blue flags through. Ooh, Babas Let's Go's is having some issues right now. Clifford is reeling him in little by little. Last lap for Baba Let's Go's, a 43.5. Clifford a 42.0, a second and a half between these two. Perhaps the wet weather is not something Baba Let's Go's is really accustomed to, as pulling off to the side there is going to be the Porsche. Darren Wicks. He's blue flagged to get out of the way. We see Parody now into the pits, so where is he going to come out at the end of all of this? Onto the front straight, Clifford and Baba Let's Go's down into turn number 1 for the 27th time for these two. Clifford getting that corner a lot better, actually, and pulling in closer. He's going to look to the inside here, but just slot back in right behind. You can hear him lifting and just taking these corners a little bit safer. He is still dead set on this Mercedes, not done yet at all. Eduardo Sanchez has gone around. It's Tim Brook who has potentially caused this incident, so we're going to take a look and see what happened down into turn number 1. So Brook going for a move down the inside. He gets onto the curb, and oh, that to me just looks like a racing incident. I don't think that was malicious at all. Perhaps saw a door open that perhaps was closing a little too quick, and unfortunately Sanchez is not going to be too happy about that. Although Brook having the courtesy to let Sanchez go ahead. He says, you know, man, I spun you out, I apologize, but we can get back going right now. Marco Jansen with a lot of trouble under the hood, so we're going to see what happened to him. So as he comes over the hill, oh, it looks like he lost grip there for a second. And not a huge amount, not an obvious amount, but just enough. And the car just gets a little wide, gets a little bit away from him, and has to, unfortunately, let some cars through and demote positions. So not what he wants. And taking a look at the timing column, Parody all the way down in 21st position. That is what happens when you mistime your pit stops. Not the ideal scenario. Baba Let's Go's is still dealing with Clifford. Clifford has not even given up here. Gonna go door to door here into the left corner, and it is gonna be Clifford that does get the better of the 316 Mercedes and takes over that P number 7. Looks like he may have gotten a better run out of the previous corner, scaring Baba Let's Go off of that line, and will be more than happy to take that position away. Now Baba Let's Go has to do all this work to get things sorted out. Tacky Weeks right now. Ahead of him is Scaptura, who looks like has just recently got the move done, possibly out of the final corner. And this rain still continuing to come down as we've got a little bit of Tokyo Drift action there from Scaptura. Right as he entered the corner, was able to grab it and save himself from spinning out. Very good job from him. Braden Thompson still Rasco behind. You can see just how much Rasco can abuse the Bentley's stability over these curbs. It is one of the strong points of that car. You can really just throw it over some corners, no problem at all. And there are certainly some corners that you cannot attack. I know one, and we'll probably see it later on in the season. If she claims a victim, we don't really know. But it is one of the safest cars. Once you sort of get around its interesting quirks, you learn it's a pretty solid car. But 10 minutes and 39 seconds to go here at Oulton Park, and 5.5 minutes for the pit window, but everybody's already done their pit stop, so it doesn't really matter all that much for them. Right now it's just about keeping the car on the track, keeping it out of the walls, and keeping your position until that checkered flag comes out. In the lead right now, it is Hamza Golzar with Hayden Harder quite a ways back, 13.8, almost 14 seconds back from the Canadian, and then Renato Dornelis here in P number 3, car number 3, in a very convenient position. And then it's Steve Davis, P number 4 for the Australian, a very brilliant drive thus far. And Timothy Flomger, P5, and then it's Landry Clifford, Baba Let's Go's, Carpenter, and Loverig in your top 10. Loverig, an amazing job clawing back positions after 2 spins at the same corner, has been able to recover nicely as Flomger getting a little bent out of shape there. This is the back end of that Mercedes, just kicking out A little bit of fishtailing, able to keep it locked down. Eduardo Sanchez with Fernandez all over the back of him. Doing everything he can to pull away from the Brazilian. It seems to perhaps struggle a little bit through the chicane. Doesn't get it as well. And Fernandez will pull in a little bit closer, but across the inside of the corner is going to slow him down onto the grass. And wet grass is not a place you want to be, even when you have those Pirelli wets on. They can only do so much. And the rain looking to continue until the checkered flag. It will taper off in the next 30, but I don't think we're ever going to get to that. Welcome in, Mullick. We did not get a safety car, and I know why we didn't. I know exactly why we didn't. We got one in every other split, but not this one. And you already know my reason. Davis, though, here getting around some back markers. That is Frizza. That is not Livery. We had some livery overrides when I moved everything in. And Weeks as well, letting through your race leader, Hamza Golzar. And behind him is Kevin Parody. Not close enough for an attacking move, but possibly going to reel him in. Last lap for Weeks of 44.44, and for Parody was a 45.50. So you could just chalk that up to letting letting the faster cars through. Not indicative of the pace overall. But Mullick, how are you doing? Wasn't you? Yeah, yeah, there was no safety car because you were not in the booth. But how are things at the homestead? Hopefully things are going well down there in Australia. I know you guys are getting ready for summer, and meanwhile I'm getting ready for winter. I'm sure you would love to maybe trade temperatures, but right now Hayden Harder is finding it harder and harder to pull away from Renato Dornelis, who has done an extraordinary job of catching up. Last lap for Dornelis was a 42.1, and then for Harder was a 45.5, so this looks like perhaps getting a little out of shape and going off the track and having to recover carefully and quickly. So Dornelis, he's already on track to get a podium finish, but you know this man is gonna want to grab a tire position. Sanchez still dealing with Fernandez, who has not given up, despite the fact he is losing a little bit of time here as this race carries on. He is still more than capable of staying in a rather threatening position. Austin Carpenter as well, Love Rank. These are the last two drivers in the top 10. Briscoe is a not so brisk 9 seconds back. This is going to be a very comfortable position for these drivers, barring a mistake. Looks like Love Rank finally got the memo. Parody is picked up, a drive-through. If I had to bet on it, that is going to be for track limits. Getting ready for more floods, but all good. Well, if you need a raft or a jet ski, or even a kayak, I got people. I can help you out. Need to invest in a fan for the rig. I have never heard that phrase in my life, but I'm glad I have. Yeah, I'm getting ready for the colder temperatures to start popping in, and God willing, some snow. I miss my snow. Also the seasonal depression, but we're not going to talk about that. But things are starting to come to a close here as we get ready for the final 5 minutes, and pit window open for another 32 seconds, but every column, every bar is green. Nobody's got to do another pit stop, although Parody does have to do a drive-through, and he is going to have to do that before the end of the race, lest he gets a harsher penalty. Wilson is behind right now, so Wilson will benefit the second Parody decides to go for the pit lane. And where the Canadian comes out is anybody's guess, as Sanchez has also picked up a drive-through, and this is absolutely for track limits. You saw him pushing everything he could to try to pull away from Fernandez, and it is going to bite him as Loverank overshoots her breakpoint a little bit. Thankfully able to keep that Ferrari pointed in the right direction, and does lose time to Carpenter, but still, of course, in that top 10 finishing position. You see Briscoe there just cresting the hill As we pull away, Nate Lamelin right now does have Skaptura behind, looking for a move down the inside, is not going to opt for it just yet. He has 4.5 minutes to make something happen. And I think this may come down to the wire, and McAnulty with the drive-through. So this wet track is catching drivers out. We do see the poor arrow styrofoam blocks being destroyed, so somebody charged right on through the chicane. So Sanchez with the drive-through, McAnulty with the drive-through, Parody has served his drive-through. Gulzar still in the lead at the moment, and he's actually pulling up on to Lamelin and Skaptura. So these two will have to let him through at some point. Sanchez as well having to go into the pit lane. Same with McAnulty. So again, they'll have to get that sorted out before they can get back out onto track and get things moving and grooving. Sanchez now going to serve that drive-through penalty. Really got to make sure you get that break point just right, especially in the wet and especially on a part of the track that has not been cleared. All that standing water is definitely going to be an issue. McAnulty is going to be coming around here soon enough. So if he doesn't serve his drive-through now, he is absolutely going to have to send it in the next lap. Renato Dornelis has lost a good chunk of time to Harder, 1.1 seconds back from the American. And for right now, it's looking like he could be settling for this P3. He has a 10-second gap down to Davis, so it's not really a huge problem for him. McAnulty is going to be pulling up the last few corners here. Or no, he actually is starting another lap, so he will have to serve this drive-through soon. I believe there's 4 laps to do it. But, I mean, it's going to be very, very close if it isn't. Thompson looks like he has gotten around Briscoe finally. Or no, it's Rasco. Yeah, he's gotten around Rasco after quite a lot of time. Currently, the highest rated amateur class driver, P12 for him. And even if he loses out to Rasco, it's still going to be at least 9 positions back to the next amateur class rated driver, that being Kevin Parody. So a very solid showing here from the Canadian, and I'm sure if he keeps it up into the bye week we'll have next week after Spa, I would not be too surprised if he got a bit of a promotion. Hint, hint, Mullick. And Kevin Parody just letting some traffic through right now. Chris Frizza as well with McAnulty behind. He is not really going to have to worry about losing this position, especially because McAnulty does still have to serve that drive-through penalty. And hopefully he does. Oh, I think Frizza may have lost the back end just a little bit, but able to catch that one out rather easily. So into the final corner they go. McAnulty is going to be serving that drive-through penalty, finally coming in a little too hot. Oh, I don't know if he got the timing just right. Hamza Gulzar, though, this is going to be close. This is going to be very, very close. Actually, no, with the wet weather, he's going to have to do this one more time. He's going to take one more tour of Oulton Park because of the times he's putting out with the wet track, a 40.7. Compare that to the fastest lap he's put out, which is a 32.9. So he is definitely going to have to do this again. And Clifford was doing so well and picks up a drive-through penalty at the worst possible time. He was going to be home free, but he's going to have to serve it before he can officially get things done. If not, he is going to get a hefty penalty thrown on there. But despite a lack of big losses of investment money, I won't say exactly the 5-letter word, and actually Gulzar has won this race. I thought he still had to go a little bit longer. We've got someone shooting way off. I believe that's Skaptura, but it's Gulzar across the line in P1. Harder a debutant here in the Simrigs Sprint Series is going to make it onto the podium. P2, and behind him, a very familiar face to the podium, Renato Dornelis in P3. Steve Davis, the man from the land down under, hopping his way up like a kangaroo into P number 4. Very solid evening from him, and Timothy Flomger, rounding the final corner, is going to make it P5. Behind him, Michael Landry, 10 seconds added on. But with the drive-through for Clifford, I wonder how that's going to throw things around. Because Clifford, technically, I don't know if this is allowed. I don't know if it's going to say he served it. We'll have to see. But Babaletsgos will absolutely take it up, and 30 seconds onto Clifford simply because he got a drive-through at the worst possible time. So Babaletsgos, I think he could potentially pick up a P6. Carpenter as well, going to get promoted up a couple positions, and I think Livery may only get 1 position at most. And then Briscoe has already gotten around. Dave Hasser for Craft Dinner Racing. He asked his team to send nudes, and he has gotten it, and he's going to have a nice mac and cheese dinner as he crosses the line with Fernandez in tow. 14 and 15, Tim Brook, 10 seconds for him. And it will be P16, but Lamelin is close enough and will absolutely pick that one up and get promoted. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the North American split here for the Simrigs Sprint Series. What an evening we had, though. Despite the large field, we were able to get through things quite nicely. Considering what happened with AP and EU. And the fact that, according to a certain someone, we were 4 for 4 on safety cars. But of course, it's North America. We're going to show you guys how to drive properly. No safety car. We don't even need a virtual safety car. But what an evening we had here. So we look at the timing sheets. Overall, it's Galzar, Harder, and Dornelis, your top 3 Pro-Am. It's Davis, Babaletsgos, and Livery. We see Clifford getting booted way down. P5 in the Pro-Am category. And overall, that's going to be P13. That is going to hurt for the 998 Lamborghini. Over here in the amateur class, it's Braden Thompson with the bragging rights ahead of Parity and Wicks. Dale, unfortunately, gonna just miss out a couple laps down. And then for the unranked, it is Wilson, but of course, that silver will get changed soon enough. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for tonight's broadcast. What a great race here for North America at Oulton Park. A track that is notoriously tight, but everybody managed to keep their noses clean and get everything done and dusted. But that'll do it for us here tonight. We'll be back next week at the lovely, beautiful, and incredibly famous Spa-Francorchamps. Another challenge for these drivers to commit to. Who knows what the weather's going to be like in Belgium. I know that Spa is notorious for its weather. We'll see if that comes into play. But ladies and gentlemen, quick thank you again to this series sponsor, Simrigs. If you're looking to upgrade your rigs with wheels, pedals, maybe some socks or gloves, well, Simrigs has got you covered, supplying Australia and New Zealand. And if you're like me and you live outside those borders but you still want something, send them an email and they can work it out with you. And if you're a Patreon member, you get 5% off in store, so I would absolutely take advantage of that, especially with how expensive some of these sim racing equipment things can be. But ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself and everybody here at the OOR, we thank you so much for your continued support. We'll be back next week at Spa. We hope to see you there. But until then, stay safe, stay beautiful, and well, keep that car pointed in the right direction, will you?